Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We're going to go into a second game between Rich and Scan, once again here on Dominator, but a different spawn for Rich. Really put a lot of thought into that last game. I really do think that that is the next evolutionary step for this 3-base 1-1 stuff, which means, like, I don't think it has too much left after that. I think the metagame will shift dramatically from that. Like, I bet you that we see this more often. But I'm ready. I'm ready to be proven wrong. I'm ready to see something different evolve. But like, I thought about it for a little bit. It really makes a lot of sense. If you're missing what I'm saying, Scanner Rich played, and I casted that on the day before this day. And yeah, just Scan showed something new for the current metagame that seems like, oh, it's so intelligent, so correct seeming that it feels obvious. Even though it's not. It's the first time I've seen it done. So that's the best type of idea, I guess, is one that seems obvious when you run into it. But yeah, really fascinating. What a pleasure it's been the last few days here, checking out some awesome, like, mind-shattering games. At least for me personally. So it looks like a gasless expansion here for Scan. By the way, cheers to map makers, and I give them a lot of crap for all the unbuildable tiles, but marking out where the command center or nexus or hatchery goes helps Terran and Protoss to do proper sim cities. Because it can be difficult. Even at the pro level, you see people all the time on maps where it's not marked out, put something in the wrong place, and it literally destroys the game. It's just like, oh, the game's over. Oh, you didn't know? With all these tiles that look exactly the same, you couldn't eyeball it when you're under all this stress and pressure? Get wrecked, son. Meanwhile, Zerg is just throwing hatcheries down. They can't even build other buildings there. It's like never can go wrong. Yeah, cheers for that. Second depot being made, not doing any scouting as of yet. Probe is coming down into this direction, but with this timing, he can just go command center. Definitely does not need to take his gas right away. Zero scouting here from Scan, which is okay, actually. Like, I normally am pretty critical about choices like that, but in my opinion, the probe hasn't come yet or anything. You can just make this command center, and you're basically fine. There's very little at this point. If the probe hasn't already hit your base and you already have a marine out and the command center started, there's like... I'm sure I could sit down and theory craft something that would kill this that might actually be done, but I would really have to bend my brain to be like, yeah, maybe 1% of the time on the ladder, an idiot might do this. But, like, this seems very safe to me. Okay, gas coming up. Still no scouting. So very late on that. Now, what the no scouting does is it optimizes this in such a way where he can actually just make a bunker. So see how he's made 3 Marines in a bunker? Now, if you scout at a normal time with gasless expansion, like a 2-depot gasless expansion normal scout, which would be normally on 12 supply, you actually can only afford 2 Marines and the bunker and hit your factory on time. You can notice here that he's going up to 4 Marines with the bunker. He's playing completely blind, but he's actually safe basically against everything. Now, if the probe had come a lot earlier, this game might look a bit different. But this is all completely fine. That's the funny thing, is when you skip scouting, like, you can afford to just kind of block everything in a way. But of course, you know, everything has its upsides and its downsides. You would not have to sit here and think that long to come up with things where it's like, oh no, you're screwed now because of this. Like, for instance, if this had been Nexus first and the probe comes down, sees it at that time, he can suddenly make almost nothing and get away with it. Well, you can see he is kind of doing that anyways, right? It's like 1 Dragoon, range, robo, and the goon is just here to stop scouting. So, yeah. Anyways, the worker count is very close right now, within 2. Scan with a little advantage there, which makes sense. And he probably clicked on those mineral patches and was able to see that has just barely finished. So factory finishes up here. With only 1 goon out, you're pretty sure he's teching up quickly, probably to like Reaver or something, but we'll see where Scan wants to go. Hey, once again, we saw Rich do this, actually, I believe it was against Fantasy, where he went shuttle, observatory, support bay, and then he doesn't. Okay, he didn't against fantasy. He didn't make the observer right away, and I thought it was a mistake maybe that he had made the observatory instead. But he timed these out correctly the same way, but actually makes the observer this time. So I think, yeah, maybe it was a missed observer in the other game that I had cast of him. This is the nice thing about casting a bunch of games of the same person in the same matchup. You can see that, you know, everyone's making small inaccuracies all the time. That's just the case. It's happening so regularly. But yeah, you can kind of learn what their true intentions were. So now this is Reaver off 1 gate. So I don't think he'll go 3 gate here. I think he'll just sit on 2. I'd be pretty surprised if he added a 3rd gate. 3 gate Observer can go into Reaver, but Reaver can't go into 3 gate. It doesn't really make sense. If you do, your 3rd base is super late. The only player we've seen, like I think we have 1 game on the channel where a Protoss player does that, and it was Cal. One of the, 6 dragons that, I fawn over Cal every time. I love Cal's play. As far as Protoss players go, definitely one of my favorites ever. But yeah, he's the only one that I've seen do something like that. And it gives you a lot of tools. And I guess I was talking about how making things happen as opposed to optimizing, how different those two options are. Rich here is optimizing. Like, this is just, everything's very solid. Everything looks good. In fact, I talked about how rock solid he was in the previous game against Scan. Now, this is a very different looking game. This is, I actually hadn't even noticed this, but a very quick dropship coming out from Scan. He is doing a little bit of a push. Ooh, that Scarab just absolutely crushes. Absolutely crushes there. So he has to pull back. And it's kind of sad if you lose all your Marines. You don't have anything to put in the bunker. The bunker's still a little bit useful, but if you have even 1 Marine in the bunker, it's really much better. Okay, so 3 Vultures getting ready to be dropped into that main base. Kind of interesting, the placement of that and everything. Rich coming in for the push. Siege mode is not even really that close to done, and there's nothing in this bunker, so... This is actually a little bit problematic here for Scan. He's going to lose that tank really quickly. He's trying to target down the Reaver because everything else can be dealt with. The Reaver is actually the hard part, and the siege mode is super late here. So Rich has actually found a pretty good time to attack, and now Scan, he has to actually target with these Vultures or they won't get anything done because the Dragoon's standing there. Finally gets the siege up, and he actually gets his worker count significantly ahead. So he did micro that pretty heavily. There was, like, if somehow Rich had been able to delete those 2 tanks really quickly, maybe he could have gotten more SCVs, but he didn't really get good SCV kills comparatively. The Vultures definitely did a bit better. Ooh. It's like another drop coming in. Bad news for Rich. He is getting his 3rd Nexus all saturated as well. So he is able to remake that worker count pretty well. And it's a little bit tricky and a little bit... I feel like it's non-intuitive in a way. Where it's like you can get all this probe damage. Like, I don't think anyone would argue that Scan's ahead here, right? Even in unhinged YouTube comments, no one's going to say that Rich is ahead. Scan's position looks better. It just does. But just because he did all that damage doesn't mean this lines up into a timing attack. Because the factories get added so much significantly later. It's like, yes, you killed a lot of workers, but what did you sacrifice? You actually sacrificed a lot of units. So 5 Vultures were spent in that attack. And he made the drop ship and he made the starport and everything. And the factories all got added, a minute and a half, let's call it, later than they normally would have been. Something like that. Okay, so that, like, even if you say a minute, just to make math super easy. Let's say these 3 factories are all a minute late, and this one's like a little bit less than a minute late. A minute is 3 Vultures. So that's like 9 additional Vultures that you no longer, or you could have had if you hadn't gone drop. So the timing attack does not line up that easily. Like, he might still do it. Well, no, because we see the command center, right? But, like, You can still choose to do a timing attack after a drop. It's just, it's like I said, I feel like it's a bit non-intuitive when you can do it. It's like, it's very, very tricky to judge whether you did the right amount of damage to be able to do that. Okay, anyways, enough talk about that. The drop gets caught there by Rich having some pretty good placement on his Dragoons. Nice little line of mines here. I like it. Scan is really, he has become one of the best players in the world at laying spider mines in intelligent positions. He's always laying them to check drops. Like, this is really smart. This is like, he can't miss a frontal attack coming down. Vulture's kind of scouting this side of the map. Rich, in the meantime, has made an almost silly amount of Dragoons. Does he have a Citadel? Yeah, he does. Okay, so does he have Zealot legs? He must, right? You'd imagine he's making 5 Zealots right now. That'd be weird if he didn't. Fourth Nexus is up. The command center's done and floating up here. And Scan has decided to take this base, which I think is fine. There it is again, guys. The third add-on. Not surprised to be seeing this. So obviously it's a little bit different game because he opened with a drop, but the same idea. Now he's only on 7 factories, not 8. 7 factories is like, you normally don't want to attack off 7 facts. I think we'll see him add another factory. I would be pretty shocked if not. And in fact, I would like to see him add 2 factories, but I actually am a big fan of 9 factories. I think it's significantly better than 8. Doesn't play into expansion that well, though. Okay, so he is adding that 8th factory. And here comes a drop here from Rich. Bombing in with these 3 shuttles. And it looks like he's actually going to get some pretty decent damage here. The Wraith is going to be super, super helpful. Love to see that. And the Reaver's going to try to hurt these siege tanks a little bit that are trying to come down to help. The Zealot's doing a good job of kind of tanking and keeping them back. Lifts up those Reavers. Oh, careful, careful. Very good to pick off that missile turret, by the way. Allows him a little bit more movement with this shuttle. And you can see he is cleaning out some of these other ones. Almost loses that Reaver. Okay, ends up dropping it off. But this is basically held now. This did really, really strong damage. Look at this. 43 workers to 71 after that. Kind of impressive. Wow. Now, Rich has his 4th. He's setting up his 5th. Scan has already set himself up to try to hit this really strong siege tank heavy push. Is there going to actually be a timing that works, though? He took a lot of damage here. Ooh, ooh, that was sick dodging. See, I catch all the drops. That was sick dodging on those SCVs. Like, a lot of times, you're going to see Terran lose almost every SCV there. But very good dodge from Scan. Nice micro. Now, Rich with 2 groups of Dragoons out in the front, just kind of, these are like to block Vultures from running out and getting good mines, intel, that type of thing. Scan looking for any observers that might be around that he can pick off. Kadarian Amulet's coming up, as well as additional upgrades here for Rich, going up towards 2-1. There's Scan is hitting 1-1. It's kind of funny. You never saw for so many years Protoss ever get ahead of Terran on upgrades. Now it's just regular. It's like, yeah, Protoss is going to be on 2-2 and you're going to be on 1-1. Does that sound like fun? Yes, actually. That's the meta. It's good. Trust me. Now, lots of Goliaths coming out to try to zone out. That's going to make him 7 Goliaths. So that's going to zone out the shuttles. And let's try to take a look at the tank count. So there's 10. And there's 12. Or 11. Okay, so he's got like 17 tanks that we see right now. Oh my god. One more storm. He has it. He has it, but he doesn't cast it. Wow. Really does hurt the SCV count once again. Now, the thing is, like, Scan has to attack now. There's not a question. So there shouldn't be any more drops from Rich. He really should just focus on seeing if he can kill off this army. If he can kill Scan's army one time, he should win this game. Scan has no third next or 4th command center. Third next, jeez. No 4th command center. He has to make this push work. This is absolutely the key. He's bringing along the floating barracks. He's got a ridiculous amount of siege tanks. Look at that. 10, 12. All right, so he's at 22 tanks up in the front right now. 22 tanks tightly trudging northward. Now, Rich is trying to come in for the attack. He gets some okay-ish storms, but you can see this ridiculous spread of siege tanks. How strong this mass siege tank style is looking. Holy crap, man. It's just melting him. Guys, like, I really like the style Fantasy showed, and I've just been wanting to play with that. But I'm watching what Scan is doing. I'm like, this is absurdly strong. Like, you have to be able to attack really well with it, but, like, he took so much damage from the Reaver drop. Look at him just destroy the army. And it's right around the same timestamp move out, too. It's like, he's moving out 15, 16 minutes with way more tanks than we normally see because that third add-on. It's awesome play. Going right up into this natural. He's already killed the mineral base. He's going to be able to kill this. He'll be able to branch off and kill this. Now, Rich is in a better spot than he was in the previous game. And here's why. He's got another main. He can add more gates here. He already has 3 gates here, but he can add a lot more gates there as the rotation of units out of here becomes basically constricted. He also has the double robo shuttles that he can make to help get some of these units out. Now, if he just marches all these Dragoons into the tanks, he's dead. And he might just feel like he's dead anyways, but I'm super shocked that he's even doing this. Because there was never a world in which those would do anything. I think the game was definitely looking like Scan was going to win. Like, I think Scan would have quickly killed this space. And if he had killed this space pretty quickly, too, the game is definitely over. And he was probably going to win. I do feel like there was a little bit of play left there for Rich, but I actually don't mind him just throwing his units away and leaving. I don't think he should have thrown the units away up the ramp. I think it's actually healthier to just leave the game with the units down here. This is a negative input in practice where you do something that you should never do and then leave, and your brain sees you do that. So it's like, this is stupid to do. But I think quitting the game is fine because you get into such a bad position, and like, I think that's a fine way to practice. I think that there's a lot of merit in quitting bad positions. Like in a tournament, you're gonna have to play them, so you need some amount of practice with them, but you don't need to play every game out with them, I don't think. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the 3 siege tank push. It is, or 3 add-on siege tank timing attack. It looks so strong. It looks so strong. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.